What's up guys, welcome to tuggtv. So in continuation to the modcaster project that we're currently working on, we did discuss earlier that we are working on a guitar and we're trying to modify it and bring it up to a level of some of the company made guitars, and we obviously wanted to pin it against a worthy adversary.
If you haven't seen our first episode on what we are modifying, you can check it out right here.
There's a link in the description as well. Here we have it guys. This is the guitar that we're going to be pinning our modcaster against, and a lot of comparison is going to be done in accordance with that.
So this is actually a Fender Strat Affinity series, and on a very price aspect it's somewhere around 15,000 to 16,000, but this is like the balance among
most of the places. Yeah. So
exactly.
These are across like guitar shops that you can do on some online websites like Amazon, Bachao, all the regular stuff.
Coming to the specifications of this comes with an Adler body, which is a two-piece Adler body, pure maple neck, standard tuners, standard pickups, you have your configuration, and when you look at it, you can come to know that our modifying track is perfectly based off of this. This comes down to a small topic which might be, kind of like debatable when people come to it, that rosewood fretboard does give a bit more warmer tone. But then instruments of this level, I don't think it would make too much of a difference.
Speaking of tone, obviously before we start modding the modcaster project, we wanted you guys to know what it sounds like in stock. So this guitar of course is in a stock configuration, and our modcaster is also at the moment in a stock configuration. Most of people use software emulators these days. We set up an identical stack on Amplitude for both these guitars.
This was something that we wanted it to be neutral. We never set it
That's
to
right.
these guitars. We set it to our other guitars and then pinned them both against.
That's true. So it's a very generic neutral setting.
One more thing which we actually took into consideration was the pickup height, just so that you give a justified level for both of it.
That's true.
It shouldn't be the factor that we kind of downplay one and then accelerate the other.
So of course we played a very basic bluesy riff, which comprises all the elements of chords and some amount of scaling, so that you can clearly hear the tonal qualities and differences. We played the same riff, with some very minimal backing across both the guitars in each of the 5 switch settings, and this is what it sounded like.
For the best audio, please use headphones or really good monitors.
So the first thing, I think it's very clear and evident that the modcaster, in its top condition,
it sounds very noisy.
It is very noisy, especially around the single coil. And every time it's in the single coil setting, the hum is very loud.
Exactly.
It's very evident. You can hear it, and it's kind of
jarring to be.
It's jarring. Yeah, it is annoying.
Exactly, and this actually translates when you take it on a live gig and you're using like the single coils over there. If their equipment is not all that good, you're going to end up with a really noisy show.
Really noisy show, really bad sound. It's not going to sound good, especially if they're like mediocre to low level amplifiers, which sometimes in local happens.
Exactly, and the hum, when you look into it, even if you use like a noise suppressor, you will have to suppress it to a point when you actually lose out a bit of the natural
tonal qualities of it.
Yes.
Not the case with the Fender.
Exactly.
Fender was clearly the more well-behaved of the two. And somewhere this of course goes to show that there is a difference between a Fender and a guitar that is built to a cost.
You kind of know where your money is going to.
Yeah, so now you know.
So coming to the neck of the guitar, the Fenders actually follow your C-type neck, and although there's no specific type of neck which is actually there in the modcaster, it did feel more like a modern thin U neck.
That's true.
So,
a lot thinner than the Fender.
Exactly. For people who kind of prefer a thinner neck, the Amaze guitar would be much more relevant to them. But then for somebody who's okay with having a bit of a fatter neck, I would actually suggest the Fender because it kind of felt very smooth. And even though it's bulky, you don't feel that bulkiness when you're playing it.
I think it comes down to one personal preference. Depends on what you like. But then, having played both the guitars, it is something you get used to. You will start liking the slightly fatter neck. It has its pros and cons.
Yeah.
Both of them do, like any other instrument. And I think it depends on your style.
Another aspect of the neck which I would like to pick up is actually the fretwork which is done on it. Like you can know that the frets are properly aligned, and then the rounding which is actually given for the top and bottom are really good. Like when you're playing it, you don't feel it on your fingers.
That is right.
Like although the fretwork on the modcaster is not all that bad,
it isn't bad.
Exactly. For some people, it does affect.
Yeah, I know it made a difference because I played both the riffs and the Fender's fret was a breeze. Along with that fat neck, it was good fun and it was a lot easier holding the bars as well. Not that it's difficult on a local make guitar. It's just these are differences you are going to notice almost immediately as a guitarist. So also I would like to add that the way that the whole construction is, whether you take it with the frets and the neck combined, the Fender does invite the player to do a lot of bends. That's really interesting about the Fender. It just invites you. It just loves, having hammer-ons and bends, especially a lot of.
And actually, coming to this dynamics of the guitar, we need to come to know that one of the main reasons why people pick up a single coil guitar is for the twanginess of it.
That's true.
So when you compare it, you kind of felt like the Fenders had a bit more of balance to it.
That's right.
And the twanginess was there even in our modcaster, but then it just took it way over the line. Like it just sounded way too twangy. So that is another issue what we kind of need to talk about.
We were discussing earlier that you use a rosewood fretboard to have a little more warmth in the guitar, but in this case it wasn't.
Yeah, that was not
enough. It wasn't the case at all. You could very clearly hear that the modcaster was the twangier of the two.
Exactly.
Twangy is good, but the question is how twangy.
Is twangy.
Is twangy, yeah. So that's where the Fender sort of balances it out. Coming down to playability, of course, the Fender was great, but when it comes down to the modcaster, now I don't know if this is the case with all local makes or if this is something specific to our modcaster, but the volume knob is the other way around.
Yeah, right? That was something which actually gave us a lot of trouble.
Too much trouble actually, because what's happening is while I was playing, because I have this open style of playing, every time my little finger came in contact with the volume,
it kind of keeps turning
the volume down. This doesn't happen in a Fender because it's the other way. So when I'm sort of rubbing it this way, nothing happens. It just stays in level. But that was not happening here.
Yeah, I think essentially it comes down to the construction of it. Like, I'm not sure, as you said, we might have ended up with a wrong piece over here.
Maybe.
But then that was how it was.
Yeah, but we have to say it's extremely irritating.
Yeah, it is.
Initially, I didn't know what was happening because I was playing the riff a couple of times and I keep hearing my volume going down. And initially, I thought maybe he's messing with the drums because the drums kept increasing. But then I realized that wasn't the case. What was happening was I was reducing the volume down. Yeah. And okay, you can sort of be a little conscious about it. Some of you might say, okay, I don't have an open hand style, I have a closed hand style of playing, but if it does get in contact with it, it's really irritating because you're playing a riff, you're in the zone. Come on, it happens with guitars. You're in the zone and it's a party pooper. It's a buzzkill. So, yeah, that sucks, and we're gonna have to fix that.
In conclusion, when we kind of compare these two guitars, it kind of shows where the money goes. You know, when you kind of buy an expensive guitar, it does have its perks.
That's right. But very evidently.
Exactly. So these are the things which kind of somebody has to keep in mind when they're investing in a guitar. If you do not have plans of modifying it, we would strongly suggest you go for anything of like probably a bit more better quality of it.
That's true. I mean, eventually know where your money is going. If you're going to be buying a very cheap local guitar, then these are some of the niggles that you're going to be dealing with and you need to be aware of it. Whereas if you do step up the money, if you're willing to cough up a little more money, you end up with something like a Squire Affinity series or maybe even a Bullet Strat.
Exactly.
You know what you're getting. This is the difference and you've just heard what difference it makes.
And also, this comes down to another factor that of affordability when it comes into play. Like if somebody is able to afford just the modcaster, which is our Amaze guitar, there's nothing bad with it. You can invest in it. But then know that down the line you might have to make a few changes.
Yeah.
So keeping that in mind, like it kind of helps you to know where you want to be.
That's right. And if you're going to play live, if you're going to be entering a studio, these little differences make a very big difference to the sound. That of course was this episode, and next week we're going to take you through all the various changes that we're going to be doing to the modcaster, and since we are comparing it with this Fender Squire series Stratocaster, we're also going to have some comparisons, so stay tuned for that. What did you guys think about this video? Is there some thought that you have which you would like to let us know? Is there something you would like to see as part of this project? Hit us down on the comments.
Anybody who's got like a similar guitar, we would like to hear your opinions and what you felt on these.
Give this video a thumbs up if you like what you see and subscribe to us for more content.
And as always, stay metal.
We are dehydrated, watch tuggtv, stay metal!
Stay metal.
Dressed in all the rings. Oh my god, this is much better what you had.